And joining me now is David Hawkins. He's the editor of The Fulcrum. You focus on issues of democracy, functionality of government. Congress functioned recently in a pretty substantive way. They sent a bill over to the president, very substantive bill.
Sure, it's $19 billion in spending for disaster relief. Usually these things, yes, it was functional in the end, but it took a long time to get there. Usually disaster relief bills move about as quickly as anything in Congress. This one was yet another partisan fight between the Republican Senate, the Democratic House. The president objected. The president wanted money for his immigration policies in this bill. He objected to when that didn't happen. He wanted not so much money for Puerto Rico in this bill. Congress insisted on that happening. Then at the very end, right before the Memorial Day recess, where Congress was out of town, the Senate passed this thing with 85 votes, and a few Republicans were able to block it for yet another week during that recess. But in the end, wildfires in California, tornadoes across the South, flooding in the Midwest, some of which happened 2 years ago, are finally going to get the relief, and Puerto Rico as well.
Of course, Puerto Rico. A lot of people are dependent on those funds. Another example of something that we don't think will ever make it to the president, and that is an immigration bill, the new DREAM Act that Democrats are bringing up.
That's right. This is the Democrats know that the Senate Republicans aren't going to take this up, that the president doesn't want to do it. This is the Democratic immigration bill, pathway to citizenship. The House will pass it probably very much along party lines in the next day or two.
Yeah, and Congress, some members are taking some time away from Washington for a pretty important reason, to reflect on something that was a pretty big deal and certainly deserves some attention.
That's right. So the Congress was away last week, and they're only going to be around for a couple of days this week because many of them want to fly to Europe for the 75th anniversary of D-Day. Mm-hmm. None of them experienced D-Day. None of them were in World War II. The last World War II veterans who served in Congress left Congress a couple of years ago. So it's an entirely 2 or 3 generations younger than the World War II generation are now in Congress, but they know that this was a bellwether moment in global history and American history, and they want to go remember it.
Yeah. David, thank you so much for joining us. For more stories like these, you can sign up for The Fulcrum at thefulcrum.us.